Okay, we're back. Is it more stable now? Well, let's hope it's more stable. I'm just gonna continue, and then if it's still kind of shaky, I don't know what I'm gonna be able to do about it. But sorry about that. Hopefully, it's more. It's a better stream now. Um, okay, let's continue through the cave. So let's see, what were we doing? So I was just talking about how the lighting, the lighting color, like the temperature of the lighting is changing really drastically. So I kind of feel like it's a little bit like too jarring of a change. I kind of wish it was kind of a smoother transition through these caves. But let's keep going here. Oh, and now we see a really interesting structure here. This is a structure that Dear Esther's been using a lot throughout its layout, where we walk here to this kind of dead end, but the critical path that we have to follow is backwards behind us. So again, we get this kind of like V shape or Y shape, but it's like a backwards Y shape or like a backwards V kind of. Which is really interesting in level design, where the critical path, you have to make this hairpin turn and go back kind of the way you came. That's pretty unusual in video game level design. So I feel like people, when they talk about Dear Esther, they really focus on the visuals, but also in like a formal sense of just where you're supposed to go in a level. Dear Esther is still really experimental in that sense as well. Let's keep going this way. I feel like this is like a heart shape or something. I don't know. Really interesting, huge cave. Candle again, super bright, implausibly bright, I think, personally, but that's okay. That's what makes for a more beautiful cave scene, I guess. Let's keep going around here. Oh, I like these random, like, caustics here. So, you get these, like, water reflection kind of overlays on the ceiling. Well, maybe I don't like them, actually. I feel like in video games we do this a lot, where we just do, like, where we think we want to, like, push graphics so much that we do something that's kind of, like, almost kind of silly. I don't know. I feel like that's a little bit too much of an exaggeration to have, like, where is that water even reflecting from? There's not even any, like, water down here. So, to me, it's kind of, like, strange that it would be doing such strong reflections on the ceiling right here. But again, I imagine most players probably wouldn't care or notice because it's like a video game or something, and they were used to the weird hyper-realism artificialness of video games. But as we go around, we can notice there's a lot more. There's like electrical diagrams, it looks like. One thing I really like about Dear Esther is the decals they do in the form of environmental storytelling. Right now, it's like a huge cliche that, you know, if you play like a System Shock or Bioshock or something, there's going to be like messages written in blood on the walls. Here, it's not messages written in blood on the walls, but it's like more abstract imagery, which I kind of like. Like that's I think that's an interesting direction to take this really well used, well-worn trope in video game level design, where instead of putting all these messages everywhere, you're putting these like abstract, like a collage of these like abstract symbols, and then we kind of have to make sense of all these nerve axon diagrams and electrical diagrams. So it's like something about nerves, something about systems and psychology, I guess. I don't know what that is, but that looks interesting. Let's keep going. Oh, can I walk in the middle of here? What's in the middle here? Oh, I don't know what's in it. It looks like just candles and more stalagmites and stalactites and all that. Well, let's keep going this way. Okay, one other thing I like about the caves in Dear Esther too are also that it's just so like saturated. Like the colors here are just so intensely blue in a way that you don't get in the first two sections of Dear Esther, where it's like really desaturated and like dreary, like England or that part of the world or something. But I like how this kind of is like almost like neon, right? I think that's like an interesting like visual departure, or at least in like a perceptual sense, these colors seem so much more like neon to me. Like there's hardly any mid-tone grays anymore, right? It's all just really saturated, intense colors now. Ooh. Okay, this scene is like gorgeous. Like I love all the waterfall animation shaders here. I don't think there's any way for me to like actually walk up to there, so I'm gonna do a bad thing and activate cheats, which is one of the reasons why I like using the Source Engine version of Dear Esther. In the Unity version, I don't know how to access the cheat modes, so it's more fun here where I can like fly up and see what's going on. I like all these waterfalls going on here, but I also like how there's not actually like a hole in the geometry here. Like normally when you have these kinds of waterfalls in games, I feel like you'd be tempted to actually model a hole in the geometry like that. But here Robert Briscoe does an interesting thing where he just puts a really bright light there. And when you have a really bright light there, that kind of like signifies or implies the existence of an actual hole with like sunlight or whatever. So I like that. I think that's like a really clever move there. And it's also just really specific with how he's doing the effects here. Notice all the waterfalls are pretty like flat. Like that. That's like a pretty flat and thin water volume. He decorates and builds this environment in like a really specific way for us, so that we kind of have to, like, he builds because he knows the direction we're coming from already. And I feel like it's a big temptation often for level designers or environment artists to build out your world in a way that you build stuff that the player will never see, or you build stuff for angles that the player will never actually access, and that's technically kind of a waste of your time. Like, you really shouldn't always work like that. So I like here where he's kind of built this with some specific sightlines and perspectives, like, really in mind, because Dear Esther controls our perspective so tightly like this. But, you know, let's keep walking over here. Oh man, I like that we're walking over the waterfalls here, because it also feels kind of dangerous. Like, if you go in a cave in real life, which I've actually done, actually, with like a subterranean cave with all this water everywhere, it's like slippery as fuck, and you're always falling and slipping everywhere, where you almost like kind of want to take off your shoes to get a better grip on everything. So here, to me, when I'm walking along this ledge and then there's all this water to me, like, I'm almost feeling like it's, again, kind of dangerous, where Dear Esther's almost kind of like Mirror's Edge in a way, where there's a platforming kind of element to it. And if I'm not careful, I can totally fall to my death. Or not fall to my death. I guess I was supposed to dive down here. Oh, that's cool. Wait, but could I have just kept going up here? I guess that's the only way to go, because I would have walked around here. If you've seen previous episodes of my Dear Esther playthroughs, you'll notice that usually when there's a giant hole in the ground and you attempt to fall off a ledge, the game will usually kill you. And falling to your death, again, is not a mechanic we usually associate with walking simulators. Which is why I think people should give Dear Esther like more credit in terms of what it's trying to do with its interactions. That's interesting. So the path actually really forks. Like, I could have fallen down that hole or gone down this tunnel. That's interesting. I don't really remember doing that before when I played this. Oh man, I also love all the specularity going on. Like, in this shot right here, this is gorgeous. Notice how like shiny all the rocks are. I think video games tend to overdo this a lot now, especially with the rise of like physically based rendering, where you just want to cube map everything and make everything super shiny and stuff. Here it kind of feels appropriate and a bit more controlled, because only the bottom part of this tunnel is shiny, while the top part is still kind of like dark and stuff. So I feel like the specularity here is still pretty controlled. And then here I feel like, notice like there's a caustic's like water reflection animated overlay on the walls here. Here I think it fits because it's such like a dark space like this, where I can believe this moving water would be casting these reflections on the wall. But in that previous scene, to me that wasn't plausible at all. And here it's also more subtle, the animated reflection overlay here. So I like this better. I think this tunnel is a much more like successful tunnel than like the other cave rooms we were walking through. Let's keep going down here. Well, let me change my... so I was kind of knocking Dear Esther for having such drastic light color changes, where it's constantly going from green to blue to orange to green to blue to orange. But maybe you actually do kind of need that color contrast, because otherwise the whole scene kind of gets really flat. Like, the only reason I'm able to read that I can go down this tunnel is because I can see that the color down there is blue, and that's like a totally different color down there. Oh man, I love the... God, look at those normal maps too. Really nice. Really well done. Let's turn on the wireframes so we can get a sense of the low poly geometry here. Like, it's actually, again, a pretty low polygon mesh right here. Notice that green wireframe. But because Rob Briscoe is just normal mapping this to hell, totally, the surface just looks really, really gorgeously detailed with like all these cracks and crags in there. And then when you have these bright neon lights that are almost like floodlights, really, it really helps the normal map shine like that. Even though the light does feel kind of too bright, like a Disneyland ride or something. Okay, here's where I like the color transition here, where it's kind of blue right here and then green, and we kind of get a nice mix of the blue and green kind of bleeding into each other. I like this. I like this transition. I think it works. I also like with this cave, you know, it kind of avoids what I might call like Skyrim cave syndrome, or like Elder Scrolls cave syndrome, where the cave tunnel isn't just like a cylindrical tube that's going down in like the same shape. Here it's kind of like undulating. Like here there's like all these cracks and crags. Like the diameter of this tunnel, it's constantly changing and shifting. Which feels like more natural and real and like lived in and like handmade to me. So I like that. Oh, where are we? Oh, we're actually at the bottom of the tunnel. Oh, this is where we fell down. This is where I fell down from the beginning. Maybe it's not a branching structure. Am I supposed to dive down to the bottom? Huh, am I supposed to swim around? And notice I'm swimming! Again, people are so upset about Dear Esther being a walking simulator, but what do you call this? This is clearly not walking. Look at how much swimming I'm doing. In Dear Esther, we're swimming, we're climbing, we're hiking. When you call these games walking simulators, you're kind of doing a disservice to all the different ways we experience these spaces. So I feel like there wasn't a way for me to go down in this pool, and it's also really dark down here. So when I see a space like this that's really dark, but then there's bright lights up here, to me that's kind of like the level designer telling us that we should not stay in this space. Unless there's like, I don't know, secret stuff for me to find. Oh, in the chat, we're theorizing that this is actually the bottom of the really dark hole we encountered in the previous episode in Chapter 2. But I feel like that's not true because there's a ceiling up here. But good fan theory for keep reaching for that rainbow. That's what we do this for. So I think I'm just gonna keep climbing back up because I think this was the wrong way. I think this is just a way up for us if we accidentally fall down into that pool, I guess. Oh, just listen to the sound design too. It's so it gives water so much depth. They have 30 different water sounds, right? If I was making this game, I would have been really lazy and a huge simpleton, and I would not have recorded 30 different water soundscapes. But here, they give water this really gorgeous richness. Oh, and now we're back here, but now I don't know where to go. Because, to me, this is where I was supposed to go. Is there another tunnel that I missed? Maybe I missed a tunnel back here. Was there another path? Could I go down this way somehow? No. Interesting. I don't know where to go in this cave now. Because this will just lead me back down to that pool, right? That's kind of where I came from. And then there's no other way to go back, I believe, right? Well, maybe falling down this pool was the right path, but I don't see where else I'm supposed to go. This all seems like... Here I feel like the wayfinding here is kind of lacking. I'm not really sure where I'm supposed to go, or what I'm supposed to do. Let me just double check that there's definitely no secret passages I'm supposed to be following here. And I feel like there isn't. So to be merciful, I'm gonna no-quip a little bit. Let's rewind back up this cave. Am I supposed to go up here, maybe? No, this doesn't look very climbable. Uh-oh, I'm stuck on an invisible wall. Hold on. There we go. Yeah, I don't think I can go up here. I don't think I'm supposed to go there either. Maybe I was supposed to go backwards? Maybe this was the wrong way the whole time? Oh, okay, I guess this was the right way. Oops, I don't know where I got lost then. Oh well, let's keep going. So I'm gonna walk up here. Or is this backtracking? So I like that I actually don't know. I'm using cheats and I still don't even know where I am in this space. And then some people in the chat even thought we were in the bottom of a big hole where we weren't, right? So the whole disorienting effect is working really well, I think, with the layout. Oh, I guess this is where we were supposed to go. Oh man. Look at all these spikes, right? If you've seen previous episodes, I talked about when I'm walking around the Dear Esther landscapes, there's so many rocks, and I'm just impressed by how many rock objects they're rendering. Here it's kind of the same sense of awe with how many spikes they're rendering here too. We just don't usually put this many things in video games like this, especially with environments. We usually targeted clumpiness because when you have so many, the environment, it's kind of the reason why bugs are so frightening to humans, right? There's so many bugs, swarms of things are creepy because we lose our sense of individuality in crowds and swarms of things. So when I see these swarms of stalagmites or something, it's that's so many. The world is so big, and now I'm just this speck in this giant world, right? Oh, can I go down here? Oh, but the current is pushing me. That's really interesting. Look! Look at all these movement mechanics that are in Dear Esther that we're discovering. That's pretty cool. But if I walk over here, is there anything to look at? I thought there was going to be something to look at because there was a light here. But, I guess not. I thought there was going to be like an object to look at. But I guess Rob Briscoe tricked me here. Oh well. Should I just keep going this way? Oh, and the chat I'm told it's not stalactites, it's stalagmites? I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. Well, this is not a earth science podcast. You know, this is environmental. Oh, here's something interesting. Oh, it's another electrical diagram. We've seen those. Old hat. Oh, there's like crystals here though. But these crystals are like really low poly. I want to zoom in on these crystals. The textures on them are pretty nice. Pretty sharp. Actually, they're kind of like refracting a little bit in an interesting way. But super low poly, right? Okay, let's keep going this way. Okay, here was like a rock bridge. Oh man, I like this. God, this is a gorgeous cave. If this were in any other game, this would be, you know, like a boss battle room or something, right? Okay, I guess I'm just gonna climb up here. You know, it feels almost like this, like, sacred cavernous space, like a cathedral or something. Oh, and I like how there's all these spikes and they're kind of low to the ceiling now. That's a really interesting pattern for movement. Like, if this was in VR, I would be, like, ducking my head now. Because I don't want my head to hit these spikes. Ooh. Oh, now there's all these glittering crystals. Oh, man. Except they don't really read as crystals, right? They read more as, like, these, like, stars or something. Oh, man, this is gorgeous. And now we're here. Should I go in that pool of water? I don't know, I can't see the bottom. It seems really murky. I don't think I'm gonna go down there. I think I'm gonna go over here. Let's go over here. Oh, there's a candle. Very bright candle. People in the chat are yelling me to go in that pool, but I think I'll do that a little bit later. Instead, I want to just check out all this stuff. Oh, man. Oh, and the sound design's getting really intense. Oh my god. Oh, it's so creepy. Okay, one thing I don't like about these overlays, though, is it's like super stretched. And that's just because the way decals and overlays work in Source Engine, but I wish the projection on them was a little bit nicer, because if you were a hermit stuck in a cave, you would not, and you were drawing it, you would just draw these diagrams normally with the paint. You wouldn't be like stretching them everywhere. So we have, again, this melding of like engineering and biology and stuff going on, and more quotes. This is where it kind of gets into that territory of blood on the wall, I guess. I don't know what that says now. And it shall be a ruinous herd? I guess that sounds biblical or something. Oh, I like these. Oh, man. Oh, these are like weird, like, bioluminescent vine things. Oh, I do not like the MIP mapping on this is totally killing them, though. Right? Like, do you notice how they kind of just disappear and, like, vaporize when we walk away? Oh, it should be a ruinous heap. Sorry. Yeah, that's a P. My bad. But again, back to these. Like, the source engine MIP mapping here is just killing these vines. Not a fan. I feel like if I were Rob Briscoe, I would have hand-placed these and then maybe did a custom shader to adjust the alpha cutoff on these based on distance from the camera. Yeah, oof. Not a fan of how they disappear. Oh, in the chat, I'm being told this quote is from the Bible. It's Isaiah 17:1. I never read the Bible. I'm a godless heathen. And the full quote is, "The burden of Damascus. Behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap." What does God have against Damascus? I mean, I guess I'm not asking for a Bible lecture in the chat, but I guess I also am asking for a Bible lecture in the chat. Ooh. What's up here? Oh, some more of a cave thing. Well, let's backtrack before we get too far. I feel like maybe I do want to go in that pool back there. Actually, let's zoom out and see what this whole scene looks like. Oh my god. So I started from down there. I winded all the way back up. Oh, that's why I got lost. I was supposed to go here, fall in that hole, and then go here to that orange light. Oh, okay. My bad. And then we kept going. We spiraled. Oh man, I like that spiral trajectory we were doing. Spiral around and around. We end up here in that giant flattened cave. Then we end up back up here. Went through this crystal room. Then went back here. Oh, maybe I will. Okay, and then here was the pool that I avoided. Oh, and then now there's some theory that this is the bottom of the giant hole we saw before. And if we go in this hole, what happens? Oh, I don't know. I guess nothing. It's just really shiny and reflective. Oh man, I love this underwater normal map refraction too. That's nice. Huh. It would have been cool if we could have fallen down that hole in chapter 2 and then ended up in chapter 3. Or I bet the speedrunners would have liked it at least. Okay, well, let's fast forward back to where we were. So we went all the way up here, all the way up here. And now we're swimming down here. Again, notice how much swimming is in Dear Esther. We're swimming again. Why aren't there swimming simulators? Maybe there should be swimming simulators. That'd be cool. Oh, and now we have to fall down this giant hole, I guess. But what's up there? Well, that's the sky. There's your answer. It's just painted on. That's kind of interesting. Oh yeah, the game Abzu is a swimming simulator. That's true. I guess let's just dive down in this hole then. Oh, what happened? Oh. Oh man, oh this is brilliant. Oh, I forgot about this part. Oh, this is so good. When you're underwater now, and now you're just in this like totally otherworldly kind of like dimension now. And then there's like car headlights and these street lights. And now we're at like the scene of a car crash or something. Oh man. I don't think this was in the original Dear Esther mod that was released in 2008. I think it was just kind of alluded to in the narration, but oh my god, this is probably the best part, I feel like, of Dear Esther. Oh man, it's just super like surreal and everything. Wow. This like flooded landscape we're in. Oh, and like the car's like covered in like barnacles or something too. When I love how the fog, I love how like the sky is bright and then we just have all this dark silhouettes against the water reflection surface on top. That's really, really nice. Oh. Oh man, oh god, the change in sound when we were underwater to above water, when we hear that waterfall, that's really beautiful. Wow. Oh, I don't like this particle system though. Oh, this is really bad. Robert Briscoe, what's going on here? This is like... Shouldn't these particles be like stretched more? Oh. This kind of kills the mood for me a little bit. I don't like this waterfall at all. But you know, everything before that waterfall, mwah, beautiful, great. But this, I'm not feeling this particle system right here. This does not feel like a waterfall to me. But then again, most players would not have turned around to look at the waterfall. Most players would have come out of that pool, kept walking forward, and then just kept walking the way they were supposed to walk. Oh man, look at all those rocks! So many rocks! Wow. So again, each of those rocks is not hand-placed. Each of those stalagmites and stalactites and stalactites is not hand-placed. They're all clumps. Or they're all one model, and Robert Briscoe brought it all into Max or Maya and then modeled it all out and duplicated and cloned it really fast in the modeling tool, and it's all just one piece. So he didn't like hand place it in the level editor. Or at least that's what I think happened anyway. Oh, that's kind of interesting. We walk over here, and then there's like a little bit of a drop here. I wonder why there's a... Oh my god! Oops. I just fell through the level, sorry. What was that? That's kind of interesting how there's like a drop there. So that you like, can't go backwards? That's weird. Let's keep going. Oh, and then fade to black, and then the next level. So I think now's maybe like a good place to stop. We'll continue the rest of Dear Esther next week maybe. But sorry about the streaming problems and connection problems earlier in this hour. But thanks for hanging out. Hopefully I will stream next week, but I'm also running a event next Friday too, so I might not be able to. It might be another week hiatus before I get back to Dear Esther. But thanks for tuning in anyway. Thank you for your loyal support, and see you next week or in 2 weeks. I don't know. Anyway, bye. Peace out.